In a second. Okay, so the Hakadama in the English Rambam actually is very useful because what he tries to do over there is he explains that regardless of regardless of contemporary science, how to try to explain certain things and how it seems to be inconsistent with the Rambam, how what the Rambam says is our perspective, al Torah, right? And I mentioned yesterday the concept that these are the words of the Eibishter and how we can take it and make it, understand it based on what if we choose to make it consistent with what our understanding of science is. It's another story. Yeah, right. That's what his point is. I think and he says more. He says more than that. I think, but okay.
I'll look at it after.
Yeah. Okay. So yesterday with Perek Beis we learned about the concept of the Rambam is telling us the greatness of creation, and from there we understand the greatness of Hashem to have the mitzvah of loving Hashem and fearing Hashem. Come to love Hashem and fear Hashem. So Perek Beis was a Ma'aser Merkava, which is
very short.
In pages. Ma'aser Merkava, which the whole concept of spirituality and the whole concept of Kabbalah and all those things which are the spiritual realms. That's called Ma'aser Merkava. And here we go to more Ma'aser Bereshis, which is the work of creation. So the Rambam again seems to be borrowing from the scientific language of his times, but okay.
His time, the scientific language of his time.
Yeah. Aristotle was or whatever. It was like but again. So how do we tie things up?
The time of Aristotle?
No, much later.
Yeah,
but that was like the popular language. That's why with the Menuchim. The truth is that actually it's a Perek Dalet. It's also much more of the physics, and this is more again still like about more astronomy, a little bit about Mazolos. Okay, these prakim are not the easiest prakim, not to teach and explain, but more to understand like what the Rambam means and how we integrate with our understanding. All right, Halach Aleph, Hagalgalim, the spheres. The Rambam is explaining how the heavenly spheres over here. Hey Menikoim Shemayim, they're called Shemayim, Berakia. Also called the Kia, which means like flat because the firmament is flat. There's Zavul, which is another expression
firmament for flat, like firm.
No, firmament like Rakia also like Rakura can also mean like flat and like tinfoil. Like it says by the Mishkan. There's a pasuk regarding the concept of because Hashem spreads the Shemayim. So Rakua can also mean like flattened out.
Okay.
V'zvul, another expression for Shemayim v'Aravis, and Aravis. These are all the expressions the Gemara Chagig brings to the heavens. Again, what the Rambam says over here in the Gemara Chagig is actually not identical, but okay. The Heim Tisha Kagalim, there are 9 separate spheres, not nine spheres.
Is that 9 physical?
No, the Rambam is explaining what they are. One second. So Tisha Kagalim 9 spheres, with nine around. 9 spheres that's around the earth, as we say. So that's Gagal Korim Menu who Gagal Yerech. The closest one. I'm going to say all 9 now. It's interesting because the Rambam over here is saying the Kud over here. What the Rambam talks about, the Gemara describes a machlokes between the Chachmei Yisrael and the Chachmei Masayilom.
Yeah.
And the Gemara describes how the Chachmei Yisrael were admitted to the Chachmei Masayilom that they're correct. So the Rambam seems to be going with the perspective of the Chachmei Masayilom over here. Now, some of Hashim explained that really the Chachmei Yisrael didn't have the tools to explain to the Chachmei Masayilom their perspective. They just told them, okay, we're not going to argue with you, basically. That's what it means. But the Rambam uses it over here because in the Rambam's paradigm, that's how it's easiest to explain this over here. Okay, there's some Hashim talk about this. All right. A lot of people have a very easy time with the Rambam because they choose not to think. If you choose not to think, the Rambam's not hard. If you choose to think, you have to answer. Yeah, okay, fine. Anyways, weiter.
These are physical.
So we'll describe what they are in a second. Yeah.
So the moon is physical. Right. The next one's also physical.
Right. In other words, the basic machlokes over here is as opposed to the Nekuda really over here is what's moving. Is there a sphere which moves? And it's like an escalator or like those walkways in the airport. You stand still and you move with it, or the stars, the planets move in the sphere. So now he goes to the shita that the spheres move, and that's what moves the planets. That's the point the Nekuda takes, which seems to be the opinion of the Chachmei Yisrael in the Gemara. Okay, so what do we have over here? We have over here 9 spheres. The one closest to us is the one Gagal Hakorv Menu Gagal Hirech. That's where the moon is. That's the closest one to us. The second one on top, the next sphere is the one where you have Keichav, the star, which is Mercury, right? That's the first. That's the closest planet in our perspective from the Earth. Yeah. In the other perspective, it's the first one from the sun. The Gagal Shishim the other one which is called Nega, brightness. Why is it called brightness? Because Venus is the brightest star. Venus is the brightest item in the sky. If
closest to the Earth.
Right. The Rambam describe closer to Mercury. The Rambam will describe in. The Rambam is going to describe in Kisha Chedesh more about these details. But then we see the morning star, which is the bright planet, right before the sun rises, or the evening star, which is right after the sun sets. That's when we see Venus. And Venus is the brightest thing in the sky. It's the easiest thing. If you look up in the sky, you want to be a little bit of an astronomer. You see, that's called a Neugo, which means light. The fourth one, where the sun is. So we have Earth, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Sun. The next one, which is Madam, which is Mars, the red planet. That's why it's called Madam, because it's red.
That's further than the sun.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. From the Earth, absolutely, sure. In terms of, in other words, if you look at the perspective of the Earth, from the solar system, but the Earth is in the center, as the sheet of the Rambam is, right. Then that's the Seder. That's the Seder. They have the Earth.
Are they going this way, or they're going higher and higher?
No, counterclockwise. So we'll see in a second.
Then why would you say one's higher?
Not higher. It means further away. It's really, each sphere surrounds the Earth on all six sides, like an onion. I'm just going to say, yeah. The sixth one is the one which is the koyach of tzedek, of justice, which is Jupiter. Jupiter means justice. In other words, the Greeks took these names. They also got it from the concept in Torah, because it says the Mazolis have this concept. Mashal tzedek is called tzedek, Jupiter, because it meets out justice to people who don't do justice in court. The seventh one is Shabtai, Saturn, which means Saturday, Sabbath, right? Because Shabtai looks like it's resting. Since it's so far away, it looks like it's not moving. That's why it's called Shabtai, the rester, the lazy guy, lazy boy. And the eighth one has all the other stars, which are further than those, which are further away than everything else, which in the solar system. That's where all the stars are. The ninth one is what stars? There are none of them. That one rotates unlike the other first eight. Here's like a little bit of a diagram to see what they're on. This is like the Earth is in the center, and the Galgalim are around it. Yeah. Another picture is like let's say over here's another picture. Here another. This is even better picture. Yeah. So again, you have the Earth in the center, and the Galgalim are rotating around it. This ninth one, unlike the other eight ones, it rotates around the entire Earth from east to west. Unlike the other ones, which are west to east mostly, east to west. It goes in one day, one rotation. Now,
amazing so fast.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why the sun rises. That's why besides this whole cheshbon, the sun goes around the Earth in a year. It goes around the Earth the other direction in one day. Because this whole thing rotates in one day. Now the Chacham today say what? That the Earth rotates on its axis in a day. And that's what happens. I think I'll be telling you the day that you can actually say that, that happens. Let us know about it, I think I'm not sure exactly. But this is why, this is the ninth goggle. This is the reason why the sun rises every day and sets every day. Besides for the fact that it goes around the Earth every year, it has every day, because this ninth one has no kechavim. It just rotates and therefore makes the whole thing have a daily rotation. Okay, we'll learn more about this.
How does it go around for a whole year and go around the same one day?
No, it's the sun goes around the Earth slowly this way around a year, but besides that, it makes a whole rotation every day. So for example, imagine that you're on a train traveling east to west, and you're in the front of the train. So you're going westward. Then you start walking to the back of the train. You're going east. So while you're going west, you're also going east in a different track. But that's in a straight line. This is in a circle. That's the idea. Chacham give an example of a grinder where you're making it like this, and there's a snail going the opposite direction, counterclockwise at the same time. So the snail is going like with you're moving it this way, but it's also walking slowly the other way. So that's the idea. Okay, fine. This is the solar system in the Rambam's diagram.
And around this time, they knew all of these planets and everything.
Oh yeah, sure. So that's what the Rambam's time. How come that doesn't mention Neptune? The Rambam doesn't mention Neptune or Pluto. They didn't discover them yet. The Achronim talk about other stars that Ram didn't know about because the Pasha didn't see them. There was an Even Ezra actually. What?
One of the Shvatim, Zvulun.
Yisachar. Yeah, the Ram says it later. The Ram says that in Kiddush Chedesh. Okay, this ninth sphere is the one that makes everything else move. Even though it goes from east to west every day, and it makes the other ones go west to east. Vice versa, the friction has like an opposite reaction. Okay. Even though we look at the sky, I don't see 9 layers. I see one mishmash. That's this one sphere. Even though they're one higher than the other in this system, the Galgalim are translucent, they're transparent, like glass or crystal. Sapphire is maybe sapphire. That's why you and I might look like the stars are even closer than Mercury or the moon, but it's not. because each one is higher than the other, the way Ram describes. The truth is, yeah, it's so according to our indoctrination of contemporary science, it seems a little hard to understand. But okay, base. Each one of these galgalim that has all these different stars in it, and stars in the Rambam's paradigm means anything in the Shemayim. The moon is a koicha, even though it's not a star, right?
Right.
The sun is a star. Okay. These different galgalim have various galgalim inside them. It's 8 or 9 general galgalim, but there's various ones inside of them. And again, think about this. Not all of them rotate around the Earth because, like the moons of Jupiter, go around Jupiter. So now I'm just saying each one has the different galgalim have their own little systems. So, but besides that, you have in the same besides the moons, even the planets. If you study the stars, so you see they move at different speeds. Muslim Zaga, they have different. Everyone has their own little escalator. That's why there's more than just 8 galgalim. There's 8 general ones. Okay. So each one is harder than the other, like the skins of an onion, layers of an onion. Some of them go from west to east. Some of them go east to west. Like the main outer one goes east to west, and it does a very fast one in one day. Some of the other ones also do that either one day. I'm not sure if it's over a year. I'm not sure how that works. Okay. None of them have space. They're all flush. There's no space between them, which is funny. The Gemara describes between the Shemayims. According to the Rambam, the Galgalim and the Shemayim are the same thing. Other Rishonim disagree. According to the Rambam, the same thing. But the Gemara says, mind you, that there's 500 years of journey from one Rikiyah to the next.
Yeah.
According to the Rambam, there's no space. It's all one next to the other, flush. There's no gaps. All right, but there's a lot. Again, unfortunately, I have a lot to say about this.
I did understand this.
Say again?
I can understand why they have a lot to say about this.
Yeah. All these galgalim, they don't have heavy or lightness, meaning there's no concept of light or heavy. They don't have a different type of matter. They don't have a color of red or black or shyness, any other color. Just to look at the sky, it seems like it's betchelis in blue. It's because the height of the eye, based on the look of your eye, based on how high it is, mixed with the sun rays, as the Mepharshim explained. They don't have taste or smell. The concept of color, taste, smell only applies to matter which is lower than those galgalim on our earth. The galgalim as they are, from once you get to Galgalishin, even according to the Rambam, there's no concept of taste or smell there anymore. It doesn't exist.
The moon is not like cheese?
Yeah. All these galgalim, they rotate around the earth. And they're round like a ball. The earth is in the middle, in the center. Now the truth is, the earth is not the center of all of them. Some of them, the earth is over here, and it goes like this around the earth. So the earth is at the edge of the rotation. But the earth is in the middle. They all go around the earth in different ways. This is why the Chacham decided the center of the sun is in the middle, because it makes it a lot easier. Sun isn't here, everything goes around the sun. The same rotation. If the Earth is in the middle, different planets have a very interesting, different type of way of going around it. It makes it hard.
And by the sun, it wouldn't be that way?
No, if you have this, if you put the sun in the middle of the solar system, the planets go around in a pretty uniform way. Each one its own path.
Why should it go? Why should they go there in a more regular way?
In other words, if you study the way that the planets move around the Earth, if the Earth is in the center, in the middle, so from what comes to the sun. It's like pretty much it makes a rotation around it. But other ones, it's like so the sun goes like this, and the other one goes like this.
Right.
It's like very mother.
So it's good.
Masha'en came the sun is in the middle, so each one of them goes each circle of every planet in the center of its circle is the sun. The center of Pluto is right in the middle of the sun. The sun's right in the middle, so it's very uniform. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to think about it that way. So you see why the Chacham who don't have the Chacham Muslim who don't have the Messiah of Torah would make such a cheshbon, because it's just simpler to think about it that way. Again, the Rebbe is emphatic that today with Einstein's theory of relativity, you can't prove which goes around what.
Right.
That's the Rebbe's. That's it. Yeah. All these different spheres work around the world. The hand look at the round like this ball of arts, so the Earth is in the middle. Not much in the center, but in the middle. The Asian makes us some of these kechavim, some of these planet stars have small galgalim that are in their galgalim. Like for example, if you look at Jupiter, his moon's going around it, but they don't seem to care so much about going around the Earth. Meaning, in this galgal, you have here. Look at the picture. You have this galgal around the Earth. In the middle of it, you have a galgal going around its own little rotation as the big galgal moves down the Earth. Some of them have small Galgalim which are established in that larger of these 8 Galgalim. Those spheres don't make a rotation around the earth necessarily. Ella, Gagal Kotnish Einin Makif, a small Gagal, it's not surrounding the earth, Kavur Gagal the Makif. It's in a large Gagal which is going around the earth. So as Jupiter, as Tzedek goes around the earth, you have if you Galgalim going around it. Bahadaya, there's this Kechavim, which we call the moons of Jupiter, going around Jupiter. Okay. Halacha, hey. The amount of Galgalim which are rotating around the earth is a total of 18, at least, right? It could be more. That's the middle of 18. So now that we said
there were 9.
Right. So in other words, 9 main ones, and the Ram told us there's other minor ones, so a total of 18, I believe.
Okay.
You know what he's saying in Taber, in the English?
The smaller spheres are included within the 8 larger spheres.
Uh-huh.
Well, you said that each one has their own spheres within them, so I don't know.
No, but that's yeah. So that's I think 8. So no, that over here small ones doesn't mean the small ones that don't go around the earth like the moons of Jupiter.
Yeah.
He means like small. If I say small and big means how many different planets or how many different
somethings.
heavenly bodies are going around in that cheshbon. I'm not sure. Okay. And how about the rotations which we're going to mention that don't go around the earth? They have their own path. Shemaim, there's 8 of them. Let's see what they are. The Ram is saying is based on. He's going to say in a minute where he got all the information from. The path of these stars and understanding the shear, the amount of their rotation. How much they go every day and every hour, because again, from the Earth perspective, if there's a racetrack, it's a perfect circle, and a car is driving around the racetrack at 100 miles an hour, it doesn't change. But you're not in the middle, you're at the edge of the racetrack. So sometimes when it's closer to the car, it's going to seem it's going very fast. And when it's further away, it seems it's going very slow. Yeah. So I'm in my yard and I see a bird fly by and a plane fly by. The bird's going fast, the plane's going slow. That's how it looks to me. It's not really true. The whole cheshbon of this whole thing, believe me, in Kiddush HaChedesh, we'll know more about this whole system. Yeah. But and it's also it's tilt the ruach tzaf nedarim, in terms of from the earth's from the flatness of the earth in terms of north and south, which way it is, and how high it is in the earth, how close it is to the earth. So from all this cheshbon, how do we know there's no Galgalim? So it could be it's a Mesorah, but also if you just look at the sky, you study the sky, and you see the different bodies and how fast they go each to the other. Let's say these two are out of this one is like this. So Yesodei are on 2 different paths. This is going slow, fast. And these two are the same, but this one is moving north. This is moving south. Okay, so from all this whole cheshbon,
you can see everything because it's transparent.
No, well, at night you can study the stars in the heavens, right? So from this we can figure how many different escalators there are in Shemayim, so to speak, right? Mm-hmm. So Yedvad Mispar Kol El Hagam. That's how we know the number of these Galgalim. The Tuach Chasim and their how they go, the image of how they go, right? If it's straight or if it's diagonal. The Derech HaKifas and how they surround the earth, if it's east-west, west-east. The Zu, He, Chachmas, and Cheshbon.
They have telescopes to be able to see these things?
And Alam's times fit their telescopes. Yeah, the telescopes were invented by who? Maybe not. I don't remember. I'm reading middle of reading a book called Astronomy for Dummies. And he talks about this, and I forgot exactly. I'm not reading it in order. I'm just reading
it. Certainly they had telescopes in the earlier years, some sort.
Yeah, sure.
Otherwise, how did they see this whole business?
Yeah, Copernicus didn't have telescopes. I don't know. This is the chachma of cheshbon of tkufas of astronomy and mazolos. And here the Rambam says something interesting. What is this the statement they gave in the Rambam Sefer Halachas? Many svarim of them are made by the Chachma Yavin, but the Chachma Yisachar you mentioned. Kisha mentions that they are those svarim we don't have. The Rambam is telling this because the Rambam told us Nakdama. This is my own shot. See what you want with it. The Rambam said Nakdama. That he's giving this Torah Shabbat Peh from Moshe Rabbeinu, and he's collecting it from everything that was written from Rabbi Nasi to Rav Ashi and his times. And if something he's including he got from somewhere else, he has to tell us. Disclaimer: it's not from the. So this came from the Chachma Yavin.
For some reason, I heard that the Rambam also took from Chachma Yisrael because they took it from.
So it says somewhere that originally the Chachma Yisrael learned from Chachma Yisachar. Yeah, and right, yeah. I don't remember what it says. It's such a thing. Yeah, it's such a thing. Shlomo Melech Biker, I think, also talked. Okay, Halacha Hagagal. This 9th goggle, right? That goes around everything. The most external goggle. The original, the early sages divided into 12 parts. Now, these sages, how early are they? I mean, even at Avraham Avinu's time, there was a concept of mazolis. So this could be a chacham already from before Avraham Avinu, from times of the Mabul, even before. Okay, Akapanim, some in earlier times, they divided into 12 parts. The chelak, kol chelak, the chelak ha'elu l'shem ha'shem kol chelak the chelak, and every part. Why divide in Dafka in 12? Really, the truth is, we'll see in a second. They divide in 12 parts. Reasons we'll see, because there's for certain reasons, mostly math reasons. And kol chelak the chelak ha'elu l'shem ha'shem atzura hetiravay n'akachav shmatim minah. And they named each one of the 12 sections of the most external Gagol, ninth Gagol, a name based on the shape, the picture that the stars that appear right under that part in the 8th Gagol seem to portray. B'shem Mechavim Tachtav that are exactly under it. The Heim HaMazolis, Shemais, these are the Mazolis, as we call them. The word Mazal can mean Ozil, to go. Different Lashonis. It also mean to drip. That the Ashpa drips down to the world. What they are? The Metella, the sheep. Shur and Ax, twins. Sartan, which is... Crab, thank you. Aryeh, which is a lion. Solo, the virgin. The Mesnayim, scales. Akav, scorpion. Kashas, a bow. Gedi, the sheep. Goat, excuse me. The lead, the bucket. Dugim, and Mazal Dugim, which is fish.
12.
Yeah, see, the 12 is Mazolis.
Whatever that means.
Right? Why they start with the sheep? Because that's... Where are they?
They're in the 9th sphere.
If you look up at... So yeah, the truth is, there's many more stars in these groups of stars. These are the main ones that the Chacham decided, I think even before Antera, could be, these are the ones, that the shapes that they're naming for each one of the 12 sections of this circle, right? And these are the names they gave based on these stars. So now, Lamashal, this is the Mazal Arya, yeah? Based on these stars. Because if you look at it, like this is like the back of the lion, this is the head. So it looks like a lion crouching in the back. So that's like a lion. If you have imagination. Okay, that's. But it says in Swarm, this is not Stamazah, that this is like Mashal, the Mazel of these Mazolos have an impact on the world. The Abish uses them as a way to conduct the universe. Why start with Pella? Because that's the one that appears in the sky right after the spring equinox. That's high in the sky. Mashal, now I have an app on my phone called Skywatch. So it teaches you, Mashal, you can let's say if you want to use it as a way to see, like Mashal, right now you want to go outside and look at so look over here, you see? If you look up, it shows you the stars as they are right now. If you had actually look through the roof, you see Mashal here, right? I don't have any like any.
Going through the ceiling?
That's amazing.
Yeah, no, that's because it knows where I am by GPS. So it shows you. So where's so?
See it.
So I looked up today. So you see Dagim. So you mazel up. That's the mazel of the bow. Anyway. So this is the. Instead of having somebody show you the stars, it just shows you as if it's like I'll show you outside afterwards. Okay, good. So this is the mazols. The ninth Gagol doesn't have this division. It doesn't have this division. In other words, the stars are in the 8th Gagol, and notice it doesn't have any imagery. Any stars. Ella rather, by the collections of stars in the 8th Gagol, the constellations. That's how we know these pictures, or pictures are similar to these surahs, right? In other words, what Rambam is saying is that when we divide it this way, based on the stars of the 8th Galgal, mathematically you have to cheshbon there's a 9th Galgal because of the fact that there's a daily rotation, right? So again, according to the Rambam, the Earth doesn't spin on its axis. So there has to be a 9th one around behind it, and that's where this division happens. But how do I know what to name, or how do I know which section this is of the 9th Gag? The 9th Gag has nothing there. There's no stars, no nothing. It's invisible. So right in front of it is the 8th Gag, which has these images. Okay. But again, because of how far they are to each other, it has to be a 9th Gag behind it. These 12 images, they weren't exactly in this way, in this formation, compared to the 9th Gagal. It was after the Mabul, when Hashem, the whole heavens was confused, because Hashem stopped everything during the Mabul. That's when it was like that. Hashem said that's when they got these names. Chacham Kadmainim was who? The times of the Mabul. In times of the Mabul, right after the Mabul, that's when these Chachamim in Avraham Avinu's times before gave it these names. These times of the Rambam, which is 3,300 years after the Mabul, they already moved a little bit. because they moved a little bit, because all the kachavim, all the heavenly bodies, stars, in the eighth Galgal, they all rotate from west to east, right? The sun and the moon. But they do it a little bit slower. Then when whatever amount the sun moves around the earth, in terms of its yearly rotation in one day, it takes Jupiter 70 years. But Mela that
I take all of them at the same time.
the point is that in the sky, in the Shemayim, the sun seems to move a lot faster. How much is a year? How many days is a solar year? 365. So the sun goes around the earth every 365 days. But the Gagalim out there, it takes a lot longer. And today, with what we know of Pluto, how often does it take Pluto to go around the earth? I think 900 years. It's a long time. If you're feeling old, go there. You'll be not even a year old. And because of this whole difference, the shapes of these stars are not exactly what they were. There's Marshall. That's why I was saying. That's what's hard. You look up in the sky, you don't see the shapes as easily. That's what I'm going to say. If I say it's at the time of the Mabel, I think it was much closer to. Okay. Ches, all the stars that are visible. Some of them are very small. The Earth is bigger than them. The Earth is bigger than Mars, right? I believe. On the moon. Some of them are much bigger than the Earth many times. The Earth is bigger than the moon by 40 times. Okay. The sun is larger than the Earth 170 times. Now, again, today people will say the sun is bigger than the Earth. The Rebbe has that this is talking about the diameter. How many Earths side by side will equal the sun from one side to the other? 170. And the truth is, even though some say it's not true according to science, but the sun has many layers, the Rebbe says. And according to one of those layers, that's the number. Now, if you ask the Rambam, what is your kavanah when you wrote these words? You meant the sun is bigger than the Earth 170 times in diameter, or you meant in mass? Could be he would say in mass. Yeah. But the fact that he wrote these words, the Rebbe says we can say pshat because that the Rebbe was mechaven, he should use these words, so you could type it this way, that means diameter. Okay, anyway. That's my own bechswar. So now, turns out, if the sun is 170 times the Earth, and the Earth is 40 times the moon, what is 170 times 40? 70 times 4, 2 zeros. 70 times 4 is 68. 2 zeros. Right. It's 1,400. So so the sun is 6,800 times more than the moon. There's no sun bigger than the sun. There's no star bigger than the sun, excuse me. And there's no star that's smaller than the star in the Gagol Sheni, which is Mars. The truth is, according to us, the moon is smaller than Mars. The Rambam says that Mars is smaller than the moon. Okay, tests. Us, I'm saying to temporary thinking. Okay. Now this is the Rambam's crash course in astronomy in the solar system. Yeah. So now the Rambam says the main kudu really of understanding Hashem's greatness from all of this. All these different kachavim, they're not inanimate rocks. They are big thinkers. They have lives and they have great understanding. They have good understanding. They are alive and they stand and they exist. They recognize the Eibishter, the creator of the world. Each one of them based on their greatness and Mila. Apparently, I guess the higher the Galgal, the greater the understanding, I guess. Right. And they praise Hashem and they extol Hashem like the Malach. They sing praise to Hashem. There's a whole sefer called Perek Shir, right? Everything in creation is Hashem. Just like they recognize. The moon knows the Eibush, just like they recognize Hashem. And they also know they exist. They also know the Malachim exist. However, the understanding of Hashem, of the Kechaf Meragalim, is less than the Malachim. But it's bigger than people. The Malachim understand the most, people are the least, and the planets in between. Yud. Hashem created under the goggle of the moon an inanimate form that is not like the form of the matter, the inanimate matter, which is not like the matter of the Galgalim. And there's four different forms in this matter. It's not like the form in the Galgalim. And in this matter, there is a little bit of four different kinds of energy. The first one is fire. When the energy, when the form of fire mixes with the matter of this galgal, now you have actual fire as it is on earth. The next one is wind. Or air. When a little bit of this energy, this form of air mixes with this matter, now you have what's called air or wind in the world. When you have a little bit of this energy, the form of water, it mixes with this matter, it makes actual physical water. The fourth one is the Torah of earth. When you have some of this form of earth mixed with the actual matter, now you have physical earth. So it turns out lower than the rakia, than the lowest sky, you have four different matters which are divided separate, because each one mixes different with this quintessential matter. Each one rotates the one lower than it, like a gaggle. It's like a mini gaggle that are close to the earth. What's the closest one which is higher than the earth, closest to the... Again, what's the first gaggle that I'm told before in terms of the gaggle that actually have understanding of Hashem is the gaggle Hireach. Then lower than that is the gaggle which is inanimate. That's the gaggle of Eish. After that is the gaggle, or the actual matter rather, of air. After that is lower than that is water. The one close to us is Oretz. There's nothing between them, they are flush. You could say that what the Rambam is calling Eish, Ruach, Mayim, Ofer, earth, water, wind, and fire, in contemporary scientific language should be called liquid, solid, gas, and plasma. Okay. Yeah.
What's plasma?
It's another type of more energy that's less like it's like I guess it's more like elusive than fire. Yeah. These four bodies, the Eish, Ruach, Mayim, Ofer, aren't alive. They don't know anything. They don't recognize. Like inanimate dead bodies. Each one has a nature. It doesn't know its own nature. The Masig doesn't comprehend it. The Ein can't change it, like rocks, right? Now, if we're just saying that these four elements, thank you, don't have awareness of Hashem, unlike the Gagalim, praise Hashem from the earth. Sounds like the earth does praise Hashem. The sea monsters, depths, Eish, Uvarad, fire, and hail, Shabak, snow, Keter, smoke. What does it mean? It doesn't mean they praise Hashem. We should praise Hashem from Hashem's greatness we perceive from the fire. Ubad in the hail, and all the creation should on the earth. That their might is seen from big to small. So again, this understanding and appreciation of Hashem's creation of the world gives us an appreciation for the greatness of Hashem and brings us to love.